lecture, I'll be teaching you about the stability of bond. Now, this is also the chapter of class 9's book, but it is also in the course of the 11th chemistry book. First of all, we know that the stability means bonds. Now, there are two kinds of bonds that can be made in an atom. First one is ionic bond and second one is covalent bond. Now, first ionic bond was discovered by Costa. The ionic bond means bonding that makes the electron to completely lose its valence orbit's electron. Now, it can be in the form of octet or duplet. Now, when we are talking about the ionic bond, we should be known that ionic bond is held between metals and non-metals. Its example can be NaCl, calcium oxide, and many more as written. So, we are known that one of them are a metal and second one is non-metal. Now, there are only three kind of atoms that are stabilized through duplet, mostly are stabilized through octet. Now these three can be or is lithium, beryllium and magnesium. Apart from that, mostly of them becomes stable through octet system. Now this is a figure by which it will be easier for you to just understand the duplet and octet system. Now this is an octet system. How? The first electron, this can be considered as an individual atom and this is another atom. Now these are two atoms. Now in the valence orbit there is one electron. How? Combinedly, maybe this electron or this atom could be having the 11 electrons. When we'll divide, we just put in the K shell 2 electrons, in the L shell 8 electrons, and in the N shell 1 electron. Now we know that there is less nuclear force between these two bondings or these two nuclear atoms, so it would be less conservative. If we are talking about this atom, so here there are larger number, like this atom is lesser than this. So if we have more electrons, so there would be more nuclear force. If we have less electrons, there would be less nuclear bonding. So because of that, this electron would transfer to this one to make it stable. Now when this electron will be transferred to that electron, it will become the octet. How? 7 plus 1 is equal to 8. And when we'll remove that, like just consider this electrons isn't exist. So this will become octet. How? Because the valence orbit have 8 electrons. Here also valence orbit have 8 electrons. Now this will become positive 1 and this will become negative 1. Now this can be the metal and this can be the non-metal. Now by that we will just make this octet system. Now what does it mean by the duplet system? So when we are talking about the duplet system, we should be known that in the valence orbit there is 2 electrons. But when it will share its electrons, there would be completely existence of these two, like these two will be completely shared. So there would be 2 electrons in the valence orbit. Now how we can just find out that is it stable or not? Just see, if we have an atom, in the K shell we have 2 electrons, in the L shell we have 8 electrons, and then so on. So for that we will make pairs. If an atom has 8 electrons, so there would be complete pairing of that. But if an atom has less electron, there would be less pairing. Like in this condition there would be one pair left. So we'll just share this electron to become stable. Stability would be gained when electrons become in pairs. So for that, we'll just remove these two electrons to become stable, because we know that in the L shell there should be 8 electrons. Now it's impossible or it's difficult to gain 8 electrons at a time. So we'll just remove these two electrons. And that's all about ionic bond. Let's talk about the covalent bond. It was discovered by Lewis. Mutual sharing is held in covalent bond. Non-metal plus non-metal, smaller atom plus smaller atom. There would be the mutual sharing, and mostly the gases are the things which have a stability but still they are in the gas form. There is also covalent bond in liquid as well, but mostly are in gases because gases have non-metal characteristics. No bonding for sharing, like in this condition there should be an octet or duplet form, but here it is not any condition to make that. So example can be CH4H2N2. Now how? Let's talk about that. Now as I told you, that's the mutual sharing. Means if an hydrogen have, like just see, this is an orbit. Now we know that in the case shell, hydrogen should have 2 electrons. But now hydrogen is having only 1 electron, so it will be sharing its electron with another hydrogen atom. Now here will be a mutual sharing, like it will be bonded to each other, it will be connected to each other, but in the form of the line, or they will not completely dissolve in each other, but still they will become bonded. As it is, as I told you, to see the valency, so we will just see about the pairs. So if we talk about the carbon, so here the carbon has 3 electrons or 3 valency in the outermost shell. How? Because we know that there are in carbon atom there in the K shell there would be 8 electrons. Now it has 4 valency because 8 electrons is not completed yet, so in that way it has an valency. Now for that it will be bonded with the hydrogen atom, because hydrogen atom need 1 electron to be bonded or to be stabilized. So it will share 1 electron with that, the one that is unpaired. And it will carbon needs also 1 electron to become stable. So it will also share 1 electron with the hydrogen to become stable. Now these both becomes stable, but still there is not a complete sharing but a mutual sharing. And that's all about your covalent bonds.